you form a mighty faggot.
It's so fucking deep.
Swallow my
I did not have
That was a good fucking.
enjoyed the spanking. Take care.
Boy next door. Bondage gay website.
Pulling on your wee-wees like a bag of fucking fruits.
I just decided to go full master and change my whole entire house into a dungeon. Dungeon master. Performance artist. System is 300.
Yeah, you need to unmute your mic and do whatever. Another said, yes.
I'm hired for people to fulfill their fantasies, their deep, dark fantasies. For fucking deep. That's good. Make me come.
Let's get your ass back here.
Fuck you!
I'm not fucking lying. What?
Your next point.
It's not even jerkable.
Carfu.
Fuck.
Tagbar.
Fuck.
Celeste.
Fuck.
Nani.
Fuck.
Hello Twitch chat. I need your help. I can't decide between classical music or gachi muchi. Please press 1 for classical music or press 2 for gachi muchi. Once more. Press 1 for classical music or 2 for gachi muchi. Alright. It seems we have enough votes. Drum roll please. And the winner is 1.
Psych! That's the wrong number!
What I do? What?
何ですか?
What?
何ですって? お前このイベントは MC いらんやろ。おい何したんやねん。さあいいですか兄貴。You ready?
Oh, I'm definitely ready. I'm definitely ready.
Okay.
Definitely ready.
いいですよ。
さあ、いろいろお話伺っていきたいんでございますけれども、立ち位置こんなんでいいですか？立ちこんなんでいいですか？
はい。
What is going on, guys? My name is Brent, and
There comes a time in every man's life when you have to admit defeat. Despite hours, weeks, and years of training, suddenly something goes wrong. And in a fragment of a second, you are not the winner anymore.
In the year of 2022, the Archon Corporation banned from streaming anyone who would not agree to represent their company. Many agreed, but not all. Kriparian, Trump, and Forsen were the founders of a rebel group known as the Original Twitchers. Forsen was one of the most popular streamers in the past, but now he was a fugitive hiding in the shadows. It was believed that Forsen was the last person to have been in contact with Obi-Wan Ben Brody before his sudden disappearance. One day, Archon Corporation's most elite soldiers, known as patrons, got an anonymous tip on Forsen's location. A squad, led by Firebat, set out to search Forsen, and he was eventually found. The battle that followed was legendary.
The promise of a golden age is over!
And so, Forsen was mortally wounded. But at this moment, Kriparian suddenly appeared. He managed to defeat Firebat with a special technique known as the Brofist combo.
Brofist, 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 Brofist! Oh, there we go.
But it was already too late for Forsen.
No!
In his dying breath, Forsen gave Krip a small device. As he whispered, for one last time.
He's so fucking lucky.
I am so excited to announce that in this programming, you can certainly, I recommend it's LibGDX. So once you run and name the package, you can name whatever web. So I've installed mine separately from Android, and you can download. Continuing on, devices you the Android. Maybe box 2D. I'm going to keep that checked, but we may not even use that. Show third-party extensions. We're going to, for Android Studios, we're going to say that we're going to use the IDEA project files. So I'm going to save that. If you're using Eclipse, go ahead and use Eclipse. We'll save that. Then we're going to generate our files. Now I'm going to pause the video right here because it takes a little bit to install. So once all the project files are generated, you're going to see build successful. Once that's done, you can go ahead and close out that. Open up your Android Studios and import a non-Android Studio project. Navigate to the folder that you set up your project files in. In my case, it's the Flappy demo, and click OK. Now, again, I'm going to pause the video because Android Studio is going to recreate and adjust some of those files, and then it will load up completely. So let's wait. So actually, that took no time at all. But once everything is loaded up, you're going to see in your project directory, you're going to see 3 packages, the Android package, the core package, and the desktop package. In order to run, we're going to be testing most of our application in desktop mode, and then when we get to certain points, we'll test it on our actual. So actually, that took no time at all. But once everything is loaded up, you're going to see in your project directory, you're going to see 3 packages, the Android package, the core package, and the desktop package. In order to run, we're going to be testing most of our application in desktop mode, and then when we get to certain points, we'll test it on our actual Android device. But in order to test in our desktop mode, we have to create a new run configuration. So you're going to click on that little Android button up here and click Edit Configuration.
I will fight with retribution. I will fight with honor. I will fight with mana. I will... Let me think. Thank you. I am justice. Thank you. I am retribution. Well met. Well played. I will fight with retribution. I will fight with honor. I will fight with justice. I will fight with justice. I have too many justice. I don't have enough justice. I'm out of justice, for justice is yours. Justice. Justice. I will fight with retribution. I will fight with honor. I will fight with justice. I will fight with justice. I will fight with retribution. I will fight with honor. I will fight with justice. I will fight with justice. Justice demands justice. Well met. Well met. Well met. Well met.
Begins. Embrace.
Well met.
Let me.
Well met.
You're mine. No. Just me and Mr.
Well met.
I'll give it a.
Well met.
Hey, give me a.
Well met.
The great.
Well met.
Embrace the.
Well met.
The.
Well met.
Does not discriminate.
Well met.
I can taste them.
Well met.
What a.
Well met.
Enter the.
Well met.
I can ease your.
Well met.
I hope you like my.
Well met. Well met.
I'll never.
Well met.
Someday I'll be just like.
Well met.
As
Well met.
wishes.
Well met. Well met. Well met.
Shall prevail.
I have no time for.
Well met.
I'm gonna stop this.
Well met.
Do you need it?
Well met.
A natural.
Well met. Well met. Well met. Well met. I will fight with well met. Well met.
Shall burn you.
Well met.
It will be your death.
I'm almost out of.
Well met. Well met.
Prepare to face the mighty.
Well met.
Put your faith in the.
Well met.
Hey, pal, trade prince.
Well met.
Yeah.
You face Jaraxxus, Eladon Lord of the Burning.
Well met.
You face Jaraxxus. You face Jaraxxus, Eladon Lord of the Burning.
Well met.
You face Jaraxxus. You face Jaraxxus, Eladon Lord of the Burning. Jaraxxus, Jaraxxus. You face Jaraxxus, Eladon Lord of the.
Well met.
You face Jaraxxus. You face Jaraxxus. Ha 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 ha.
Here comes a new challenger.
You require my.
Well met. Well met.
Motherfucker.
Hello, chat. I think the time has come. These Nazi officers have taken it too far. We have rights too, so if we work together, whether you're a pleb or a sub, we can make it past these mods. So please, I'm begging you, help me by making a ladder so we can climb over these Nazi mods, these Nazi officers, and make sure that you spam forehead when you make the ladder. That way, as we climb up the ladder, we can laugh at the mods. Thanks, and as always,
well met.
Why do you...
Well met. Are you ready for...
Well met.
The gates are...
Well met.
One shot?
Well met.
Don't mess with...
Well met.
Behold the might of...
Well met.
I hope you like my...
Well met.
We must cleanse the...
Well met.
Just me and...
Well met.
Give me a...
Well met.
I can taste the...
Well met.
Let me change your...
Well met.
My shield for...
Well met.
Mind if I...
Well met.
This is our town, scrub.
Yeah.
Well met. Well met.
Put your faith in...
Well met.
It's time for...
Well met.
You shall not.
Well met.
I am master of...
Well met.
Feel the power of...
Well met.
Glory to the...
Well met.
Embrace the...
Well met.
Someday I'll be just like...
Well met.
I choose
Well met.
victory on...
Well met.
A natural.
Well met.
Your soul shall...
Well met.
Put this apple up...
Well met.
Do you like to play with...
Well met.
Blood and...
Well met.
Prepare to face the mighty...
Well met.
Aha! I have done it! Behold the absolute power of Wilfred Fizzlebang, Master Summoner! You are bound to me, demon!
Trifling gnome! Your arrogance will be your undoing!
But I'm in charge!
You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas! Eladon, Lord of the Burning Legion! You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas! Eladon, Lord of the Burning the Roxas! The Roxas! You face the Roxas! Eladon, Lord of the Trifling gnome! You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas! Ha 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 ha! Inferno!
Main class will be the desktop launcher. And then the working directory is actually Android assets folder. And
You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas! Eladon, Lord of the Burning Legion! You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas! Eladon, Lord of the Burning You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas!
Prepare for oblivion!
You face the Roxas! You face the Roxas!
Hello Twitch chat and welcome to Huorf's School of Role-Playing Individuals with Dubious Sexual Orientations. Today we are going to learn how to use Twitch emotes. Let's start with Forehead, Eel Giggle and PogChamp. They are all face expressions of happiness and amazingness. Here's a video explaining how to use them correctly.
Prepare your force and gasps, guys. Prepare them right now.
Good job chat. The next emotes will be dog face, no space, and Afro-American. When you see or hear a dog on stream, it's your duty as a pleb to type dog face, no space. It's also your duty to type Afro-American every time you see something black. Here's a video explaining how to use them correctly.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Amazing work so far chat. Oh baby a triple, it's time for fail fish. Bible thump and baby rage. Fail fish is used when someone fails at life. Bible thump is used when you are sad, and baby rage is used when you are never lucky. Here's a clip.
He's just dead.
Wow, Iron Beak Owl coming down. Wait, what? No!
No!
Oh!
Forsen, what are you? Oh my god. Oh my god, Forsen just missed lethal.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Punish!
Yeah! Oh my god!
Hold your boat, chat. It's time for the best emote ever. Drum roll, please. Gray face, no space, and gay face, no space. Gray face is generally used to indicate sarcasm or trolling, and gay face is gray face's gay brother. A wild Trump sub appears. Quick chat spam Trump sub Dan's game.
Know the rules, and so do I.
Congratulations Twitch chat, you scared him away. Here's a song to celebrate our victory. After all the gay face stuff, it's time to visit the king of PJ Salt. That's right, Forehead Nat. Here's a perfect moment to spam PJ Salt. Chat, go ahead and try.
By default, LibGDX looks for all of its...
Chat, stop spamming. Let's have a moment of silence for Forsen Sheffy. Chat spam, rip Forsen Sheffy dat Sheffy.
Assets folder. So we're going to make that a working directory. So all of our music, image files, texture files, and stuff like that will go in the Android assets folder. So that's just what we're saying there. We'll click apply and OK. So we can go ahead and hit this run. Files, texture files, and stuff like that.
Welcome to Radio Neil.
Suction!
What the fuck was that? Gay is haram.
Fuck you! Get your ass back here!
No, you get your ass back here. Mohammed guide me. Today we kill some fags.
That turns me on. It's so fucking deep.
Praise Allah. The gotchi faggots are dead. Radio Neil. Islam is a peaceful religion.
Happening now, breaking news, Paris terror fear. Multiple people are reported killed in a shooting. There's also word of possible explosions outside the National Stadium and a hostage situation unfolding right now as well.
Kappa. Stop fucking spamming Anil Twitch chat. The next person to type Anil in chat will be killed by ISIS. Radio Neil. Now, a message from our great leader of ISIS.
Hello, I'm Trump. I believe in rape. You kidding me? You can die.
What is going on, guys? My name is Billy. Welcome to part 2 of the How to Create Flappy Birds tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about game states, orthogonal cameras, and a basic game.
Huck Frump.
Okay, before we get coding, let's talk some details. What is a game state? A game state is basically a state of your game. You can have menu states, the actual play state where you're actually playing the game. You can have a credit state, and high scores, etc.
Tuck frump.
So in this example, you can see a very rudimentary menu state with a play button here. So this would be a menu state. When I click that button, it transitions to the game state. And there can be a variety of other states. And while we're looking at this screen, let's talk about a game world, okay? Now, a game world is a large world. In our case, it could go on for a long amount of time. And we want to just show the user a specific area in that world, a rectangular area. And how do we do that? We do that with a camera. Now the camera has a viewport of a specific height and width, and it only shows that height and width of our game world to the user through the user's window. And one more thing I want to address before we get into coding is the basic game loop. Now, a game loop has two main parts, a update method and a render method. The update method does all the calculations in order for the render method to draw pictures. So an update method would include things like jumping the character up in the screen, how many pixels, doing the calculations for gravity to bring a character back down, or to adjust the pipes going left and right, where the ground needs to be and stuff like that. Now the render method, all its purposes is to draw things on the screen. It does not need to include any math or anything like that. It just takes objects of our game world and draws them to the screen. So with all that information in mind, let's create a new package in our core in Java here, and we're going to call it states. Now, inside states, we'll create a new Java class and call it state. And state is going to be an abstract class because we don't want to instantiate any instances of state. We'll create things that extend state and create those. The first thing a state is going to have is a camera, as we talked about. Each state needs a camera to locate a position in the world. So we'll do protected orthographic camera and call that cam. The next thing it's going to need is a mouse or some sort of pointer material. So we're going to create a protected vector 3, and a vector 3 is basically an XYZ coordinate system, and we'll call that mouse. And then finally protected, and we're going to create this later in our next tutorial, game state manager. GSM. And a game state manager is a way to manage our states so we can put a state on top of a state. Say we have a pause state, it would pop up ahead of the current game state and do some sort of functionality. So let's create our constructor here. We'll do protected state, and it'll take in a game state manager GSM, and we'll say this.gsm equals GSM, and then let's create a cam equals new orthographic camera, and then mouse equals new vector 3, and then what we're going to do now is set our methods here. So protected abstract void, and the first one will be handle input, and I'll show you why. Those are not two of the main states that we talked about, or the main parts of the game loop that we talked about earlier, but it will be included. Public abstract void update. An update is going to take in a delta time, and a delta time is the difference between one frame rendered and the next frame rendered. And then public abstract void render, and it will take in a sprite batch. And a sprite batch is basically a container for everything that we need to render to the screen, all of our textures and stuff like that, and it actually basically renders everything to the screen in one big blob. Now our state class isn't finished, but we'll come back to it a little bit later. I did notice that I did make a mistake. The states needs to be in the com.brunarelli.game package, so we'll just go ahead and move it there. So there we go, that's appropriate. Now inside Flappy Bird demo, we're going to make some global variables for our width and our height of our screen. So we're going to say, public static final int width equals 480, and public static final int height equals 800, and then public static final string title equals Flappy Bird. And then inside of our desktop launcher, we're going to edit the config here so we can change our size of our window. So config.width equals flappy demo.width. Config.height equals flappy demo.height. And config.title equals flappy demo.title. And that should be good. Let's just comment all this out for now so I can show you the changes that we've made here. And so if we go ahead and run our game now, you should see that the window's height, width, and title have changed. So here we go. So we have a window that appears like a vertical phone or device with the title of Flappy Bird. So we're going to cut it there for this tutorial, and our next tutorial will finish our state class by implementing Yo, what's going on YouTube? My name is Brent, and I'm excited to let you guys know that I'm creating a new tutorial series on how to create the game a lot of the basics of game design. So in this tutorial, we're going to expand on that and really be focusing on some of the things that LibGDX actually exposes to. What is going on, guys? My name is Brent, and I hope you guys are excited because this is part 2 on my tutorial series on how to create the game Super Mario Brothers. So in this tutorial, we're actually going to be talking about 2 new things that we haven't talked about in my previous tutorial series, and that is the game class and the screen interface. Yo, what's going on YouTube? My name is Brent, and I'm excited to let you guys know that I'm creating a new tutorial series on how to create the game Super Mario Brothers. So if you watched my last tutorial on how to create the game Flappy Birds, then you learned a lot of the basics of game design. So in this tutorial, we're going to expand on that and really be focusing on some of the things that LibGDX actually exposes to us to make. Yo, what's going on YouTube?
Все хорошо с этим? Так, момент. Ссылку в чат скину. Вот отсюда выбираем Download Setup Application. Ну вот, который будет. И второе,
¿Te gustaría construir tu propio juego para Android? Estupendo. Antes deja que me presente. Mi nombre es parecido a esto que vamos a construir es mucho mejor. Para que os hagáis una idea de Android, esta librería ordenador y versión poner ningún todo lo vamos a hacer todo en mi juego, para lo cual no es en 2D. Se ocupa de organizarlo. Nosotros no tenemos que ser 2D. O para hacer juegos usamos la respuesta completamente gratuita o al App Store completamente gratuita ya.
Hey everyone, my name is Vladimir. I'm doing community how to game environment public both do so agree them build if it sounds the whole so LibGDX library. Firstly, I will attach the Oracle video you can project because to do so and already I am and it also tracks the versions of the
Pussy hoe, she a pussy hoe until she give me pussy hoe. Pussy hoe, pussy hoe, pussy hoe, she a pussy hoe.
Oh shit, Force. You think you can fuck with us? You think you can fuck with the squad? Yo, we got a message for your ass.
All on my face. Bitch popped that ass in the coupe. That bitch got Lisa money. She ballin' Cheryl Swoops. She keep rubbing her nose. I can tell she wants Snoop. That coke make my dick numb.
Son, where'd you find this?
Feel like Bishop from Juice. Gun all in my boot. Sayonara, feel the sauna when I blast that ass with that ooze. Ooh, blast that ass with that ooze. But I hope to God it ain't you. Trap law with about 10 Jeeps. No telling what I might do. I fucked your bitch, nigga. And she about to fuck my girl. She just finished with Toby and now she off the loop. Pussy ass nigga wearing all black, claim they off the shoot. I pray to God he ain't lying, my gorillas live in this zoo. I got killers with the deuce. Them 10 boys, my niggas, they gon' ride with me too. Bust they nines with me too. That's my bilingual crew. Who do big dinners in they pockets. Fuck, we gon' lose. I fucked your bitch, nigga. I fucked your bitch. I fucked your bitch, nigga. I fucked your bitch. She sucked my dick, nigga. She sucked my dick.
Probably the best sex I've had in my life.
She sucked my dick.
Ride around town with about 100 niggas. When you see me come around, don't try to run up on a nigga. 4 pound, lay him down. Now you 6 feet under, nigga. If you feel some type of
I am fucking triggered.
Y'all motherfuckers listen to Radio Try Hard up in this bitch.
Nigga, running through these checks till I pass out. And shoot it in your neck till I pass out. I swear to God, all I do is cash out. And if you ain't a hoe, get up on my trap house. I've been selling crack since like the 5th grade. Really never made no difference with the shit made. Judge told me to how to maintain. Get that money back and spend it on the same thing. Shorty like the way that I ball out.
Damn, son.
Money time fall out. You talking cash, dog, I goes all out. Shorty love the way that I flow south.
Man, fuck you, nigga. Get away from us, nigga.
Bitch, you get you was right. Bitch, you get fuck nigga on some. Bitch, you get still in that place. And a flex. Bitch, you get fight. I hate fucking.
We boost.
People of Africa, come together. All of us, together as one. Divided we fall, but united we stand together strong. Come together. In the chat right now, raise your tryhards. Raise your squads, squad emotes, together with tryhard, everyone, right now.
Hello, Twitch chat. It's me, Mingri. Let's sing a song together. DJ, spin that shit. You used to spam me in your Twitch chat. Late night when you needed memes. Spam me in your Twitch chat. Late night when you needed memes. And now I know I have to sing. To see chat spamming green. Yeah. Now I know I have to sing. To see chat spamming green. Ever since I read from China, you got a knife by blocking for yourself now. Everybody knows that I get kicked out. Girl, you got me down, you got me banned now. Cause ever since I read from China, you started wearing rest and stream and drank more. Fortune just gave you my you filthy whore. Hanging with some grills I've never seen before. You used to spam me in your Twitch chat. Late night when you needed memes. Spam me in your Twitch chat. Late night when you needed memes. And now I know I have to sing. To see chat spamming green. Yeah. Now I know I have to sing.
LibGDX.
To see chat spamming green.
I want to show you the game you'll make.
Ever since I read from China, you.
You can select a difficulty.
You and me, we
the arrow keys to dodge the falling icicles. We keep track of our score as the number of icicles that we've dodged, and when an icicle hits us, the game resets. Even better, once you've made this game, it'll run anywhere, from your desktop computer to web browsers.
Hi, welcome to 2D game development at Udacity. I'm Peter, developer evangelist at Amazon.
And I'm Jeremy, a course
your games into the hands of players.
And 2D cross-platform game development libraries make it easy to write games that run anywhere. Hey Peter, what was the first game you ever worked on?
Actually, my first project was the Amiga port of Red Baron, which was one of the first World War I flight simulators for PC. How about you?
Well, the first game I ever touched the source code of was actually Asteroids on my graphing calculator. I hacked it, so I got an unbeatable top score. But the first game I ever wrote from scratch was a Choose Your Own Adventure for the TI-83 Plus.
How about you? Have you made any games in the past?
Or if you're brand new to the gaming industry, what's the first project that you're itching to write?
Thanks for introducing yourself. We can't wait to read through what you're interested in building.
So, down to business. I'll be walking you through the nuts and bolts of using the LibGDX game framework to make awesome cross-platform 2D games.
And I'll be stepping in from time to time to offer perspective as a game industry veteran.
So, let's get to it.
So what makes games different from other types of apps? It's a hard question because there are so many different types of games. But here are a few of the things that make writing games different from writing other types of apps. The first thing is that games are often built around an update loop or a game loop. This is as opposed to an event-based application, where the application basically sits around not doing much of anything until the user provides some input. Games, on the other hand, are built around a timer that fires 60 times a second. When that timer fires, it means it's time for the game to go look at the user input, update the state of the game world, and then draw a new frame to the screen. This means games often need to deal with polling for user input. Next, games often involve a ton of custom drawing. While you can make an Android app using entirely off-the-shelf user interface components, it's rare that you can do so with the game. You'll have to create your UI and your game world using either primitive shapes like lines, rectangles, and circles, or your own custom image assets, from pixel art all the way up to complex characters. Many games also feature special effects and animations, which are a ton of fun to make, but also a lot of hard work. There are whole fields of study that are much more relevant to games than other types of apps, like physics and AI. There's also exotic input devices to deal with, like gamepad controllers, or, more interestingly for this class, accelerometers, like the one you've got in your phone. Finally, my favorite part of game development is the fact that you get to create a lot of objects that have visible representations in your game world. Designing an elegant, object-oriented app is a lot more fun when your objects can run around hitting each other with swords.
Welcome to the second of many quizzes in this course. If you've taken a Udacity course in the past, then you already know the drill by now. If you haven't, you're in for a real treat. These quizzes are Udacity's secret sauce, and they're totally different from what you'd find in a traditional classroom experience. There, the point of a quiz is to figure out if you're remembering what the instructor is saying. Here, however, the quizzes are an integral part of the learning experience itself. And we give the solution to every quiz, either as a video where we explain the answer, or as solution code in the course repository. Some of these quizzes are super easy, some are very hard, and you're not always expected to get the answer right on the first try. That means you shouldn't feel bad at all if you need to go check out external resources, watch the solution video, or look at the solution code.
So, let's do an easy quiz, just so you get the hang of it. Why do you want to make games? Is it because it's too much fun not to? Is it to make a little income as an indie developer? Is it because you want to prepare for a job in the gaming industry? Is it to make the world a better place through educational games? Or do you just fight for the user?
Don't get around. You make me feel like I'm memes around. My extreme story, you don't around. Ever since I read from China, you got exactly what you asked for.
Way more code than you expect. To get an idea of why, let's try breaking down a classic game into its components and its behaviors. If you haven't played Tetris, go play it like right now. It's an essential part of gaming history. If you just Google for Tetris, you'll find a dozen versions you can play online for free. Let's do an object-oriented analysis of Tetris. What we're going to do is write down a paragraph describing exactly how Tetris works. Then we're going to underline all of the nouns to get an idea of what classes we might need to implement Tetris. Then we'll underline all the verbs to get an idea what methods those classes might need.
So, what is Tetris? Tetris is a game where colored tetraminos, that's the technical term, fall down a field of play until they collide with a previously placed tetramino. As a tetramino is falling, the user can rotate it and can drop it into place. Once a tetramino comes to rest, if a line of blocks in the field of play is complete, it is removed, and all blocks placed above it are moved down. Removing a line earns points. Points are displayed on a scoreboard along with a preview of the next Tetramino. Now that's a super cursory description, but even here we have a bunch of classes we would need in order to implement the game. We would need a game class to set everything in motion and coordinate the rest of the actors. We would need a class for the falling Tetramino to represent its position and its rotation, and also what shape it is. We would need a field of play to represent where all the blocks are and to put the Tetramino somewhere. Speaking of attributes of the Tetramino, we'd probably also want a class to represent colors. Scanning through some more nouns, we find blocks. All right, so we might want a class for blocks, or perhaps blocks is just part of the field of play. I don't know, it's hard to say how to design it best. Then we see we have points. We need a class to represent how many points we have. We'd also need a scoreboard to display those points, and we need this whole preview pane thing. Now let's scan through for some verbs to find what methods these various classes would need. So the Tetraminos need to know how to fall. The Tetraminos also need to know how to rotate and how to drop. Some class needs to know when a Tetramino collides with blocks that are already in the field of play. Maybe the Tetramino is responsible for that, maybe the field of play is responsible for that. Then there's this concept of coming to rest, where a falling Tetramino just turns into blocks in the field of play. Scanning through some more, we need a way to remove lines of blocks from the field of play. We need a way to move down blocks after a line is removed. Then there's the fact that all of this needs to know how to draw itself, and that's a big task. So again, this is just a short description of Tetris and an incredibly simple analysis of it. We could keep going here. Point is, games are complicated, and decomposing them into their component parts is essential to making any headway in actually implementing them. Now it's time for you to practice decomposing a game on your own. As your subject, you'll take one of the first games ever, Pong. If you haven't played it, go play it now. There's a link down in the instructor notes where you can find a version you can play online for free. Once you've played it, it's a pretty simple game, right? Well, do the following. First, write out a couple paragraphs describing, as precisely as you can, how the game of Pong proceeds. Then go through your paragraph and underline all the nouns you can find. From that list of nouns, come up with a list of classes that you think you need in order to represent the state of the game of Pong. Then go through your paragraph again, underlining all the verbs this time. And from those verbs, come up with a list of methods that your classes would need to have in order to actually play the game. When you're done, write in this box the number of classes you came up with, and then write down the number of total methods on those classes. Now, because this is such a subjective exercise and I have no idea what description you wrote down, this isn't actually going to be graded. I'm just curious what you come up with. I came up with between 7 to 10 classes, including the paddle, the ball, the score display, the dividing line, the field of play itself, and anywhere from like 20 to like 100 methods. Again, the point of this exercise is just to show you that even a pretty simple game involves a lot of code. In the last quiz, I mentioned that Pong was one of the first video games, but it wasn't the first. So, what was the first widely available video game, according to Wikipedia anyway? As a hint, we will require correct punctuation in the name of the game. The first widely available game was Space War, written in 1962 at MIT. You can check out some gameplay footage down in the instructor notes. It's usually comforting to break down a complex task into small, doable steps. For instance, build Tetris isn't a doable task, so let's try breaking it down a bit. One of the subtasks of building Tetris would be to draw the tetraminos. Then we need to make the tetraminos fall. Another aspect would be to make it so that the tetraminos rotate when you press the left or right keys. And another aspect of Tetris would be to play a sound when a line in the field of play is complete. Especially if you're newer to programming, this might just look like breaking down one impossible thing into a whole bunch of little impossible things. So, as lazy programmers, what do we do when we come across an impossible problem? Well, of course, we go find a library that just does this for us. Actually, since there are a bunch of capabilities that are often used together in games, we can usually find a game engine that packages up a ton of libraries into a whole system we can use. It's usually comforting to break down a complex task into small, doable steps. Game engines